So, we have reached the end of Amphoreus' story, so I thought I'd revisit the tier list I made. Yes, this is a different one technically. I am using the chibi arts this time, and I did swap the Evernight art for March because, like, both exist, they're both there. There is one character that is new that I technically have to place, then I am moving characters around, because a lot happened within... From the last time I did this, which was before 3.6, to now, a lot has happened, and a lot has changed. There's also some debatable changes I'm wondering might need to be made in the future. But first off, I'm going to correct something that the recent, specifically 3.7, has proved. I put disrespect on Herta's name. I apologise for that. The reason I put her in A was because I thought, okay, people keep citing her as being responsible for the device that one of the other Genius Society members made. Herta isn't very destructive by any means, and she hasn't really had much opportunity to shine. 3.6 and 3.7 changed that a lot. She did a lot, man. Syncing her consciousness with Noose, and fulfilling the Ascension herself so Iron Tomb could not. That's an incredible feat. March implied that she believes that Herta would have been able to destroy Amphoreus if she chose to, but we know canonically she wouldn't resort to that. Instead, in the Exotale, we get a bad ending where Herta ends up actually merging with Iron Tomb and becoming the third Mechanical Emperor, and causing devastation upon the cosmos. It may be a what-if scenario, but it is clearly a future Eliosaur, meaning we do have to take it very seriously. Meaning she was capable of causing mass devastation to the universe. We owe that. We owe respect to that. So, now we're going to go to another character whose placement was modified because of content we got recently, specifically the Exotale. Jingliu, a minimum is here, max is here. We canonically know that in the bad ending she has to have beaten Jing Yuan because she has Lightning Lord, and becomes a Lord Ravager, using the remains of the propagation to start a war against the Abundance. This is if the Xianzhe betrays the Trailblazer. That's pretty incredible. We can't deny that. It's a bit crazy. So I am going to keep her in the lower for now, because these aren't things that she has explicitly done yet, but I am very mindful of it, and the moment she does something crazy enough, she will end up in S tier. Will she end up very high in S tier? That depends on what other characters grace S tier, but for now, yeah. Welt, who was shown in Exotale fighting against Zephyro. It doesn't matter that he lost. It's the fact he fought at all. I'm inclined to move him closer to... I don't know if I'd place him above or below Sparkle, because he is no emanator. And Sparkle's position is so weird, where she could potentially be one. But do I think that him facing Zephyro is more than what some of the IPC members, like Topaz, have done? And do I think it's more than technically Amphoreus' conflict? In a way, yeah. I think that him being able to create a black hole is significant. If an entity is resistant to it, fair enough. But the fact he could go toe-to-toe with Zephyro is significant to me. I think that that matters. Heng. I am going to move him above Hycelins. I do love Hycelins. I think that she's incredibly potent in combat. I think that she made a huge impact on how Amphoreus turned out, but I have to give respect where it's due. Our boy is getting stronger and stronger. And with that, I'm also potentially I'm debating on moving the Trailblazer as well, past one or both of these two. Because even though I do think that the new character that we're going to add to the list played a bigger factor into how we impacted this world, it's still something the Trailblazer technically did do. I'll leave the Trailblazer alone for now. Now, I'm gonna move characters around here. I'm sorry. So, this is gonna be justified by the fact I'm also going to be moving Cyrene up there too. Both of them immediately get put up there. Why? Because they're both capable of ascension into Aeonhood. And both capable of causing the same bad ending for the universe, technically. So we saw in Exotale the entire universe frozen as a result of the ascension of Fuli. That is what that ending seems to portray. It was due to Cyrene not wanting Amphoreus to be destroyed, and instead of providing a seed and a means to stop Iron Tomb affecting causality, she instead decides to freeze the entire universe to prevent them escaping. While the actual ending we get within Amphoreus is everyone results in the death of Iron Tomb. Instead of ascending into Fuli, she goes backwards in time to fill in basically a gap in causality with the gaze of Fuli, so that Iron Tomb can't appear again in the present. March is capable of the exact same thing. They are both pure seeds of a Nazriver. And, my opinion, which isn't impacting the ranking, but I do think it matters long term. If things go the way I think they will, which is March actually ascending into Fuli, she will become Fuli, and potentially, quote-unquote, Evernight or herself will also become the Enigmata at the same time, because we know the Enigmata is born from Fuli. Then Cyrene will be freed. It will have a huge consequence on the entire universe. Potentially more pure seeds will reappear who originally have potentially given themselves up to go back into the past. We know that the Garden was lying about the idea of the Eden of Blessed Insight, but we know that that concept can exist, because we know that Cyrene was capable of creating it. So what is March's Eden of Blessed Insight? What could that be? That's the question I have. But if it's something that could potentially prevent destruction, then we could see an Aeon fight, and I'm all for that. I also debated on the movement of Sparkle, because she appeared again, and I have a feeling we're only going to keep seeing more of her. For now, I'm going to keep her in the same location, but do I think that she could have more impacts in the future? Yeah, I do. I actually really do. Jing Yuan, I'm not moving him despite Jingliu beat him. I think everything I said in the first video about this man holds up, so I'm not going to do anything. All of these listed characters are duplicates of the exact same roles I'd give the actual counterparts, which is why they're all still down here. None of these three can be moved yet because they've done nothing within the recent story that changes that I can't place them anywhere. So yeah, for now, I am inclined to say that the two characters that are both pure seeds of a Nazriver are the strongest characters we've seen in Star Rail. I think that Acheron is absurdly powerful, but do I think she's ascending into Aeonhood? No. Fanon, I think he's incredibly strong. Do I think that he's ascending into Aeonhood? No. Do I think that long term, maybe if he's born again, that he could take a position of an emanator of destruction? Maybe. It really depends. It'd be very weird. One other thing I debated on is, because we saw inside of the Exotale that the characters lose their special quirks out of the Amphoreus cast, like, for example, Castorus isn't surrounded by that permeating aura of death anymore. She doesn't unintentionally potentially harm people who come close enough to her. Should that impact their placement? I'm going to leave it alone for now, but only because I believe that if it does impact them in the future when Amphoreus becomes a full world, it will move characters down. Because it means that both Castorus and Mighty lose the advantages that they had, and they'd go probably closer to here-ish. But, while we don't know, because they have not actually been born into the world properly yet, I will leave all the Chrysosairs alone. Because Cypher, one of the main reasons I gave her such a high placement compared to other characters within the series, is because Helai was able to do so much. But if she does not have that capability anymore, is she considered weaker? I would say so, yes. Castorus without her aura of death is weaker than Castorus with that aura of death. Mighty without his immortality definitely should not be in here. He is a strong guy. I would probably put him ahead of... I'd probably move Mighty specifically around here-ish or here-ish. And Castorus would go behind Anaxa because... But the thing is, Anaxa's placement would move because the most competent thing he did was he hacked into Lygas's mind. To be fair, that wasn't based on some special boon though, and I think that he probably could pull that off even if he changes as an entity when Amphoreus is born again. We'll see. The one character that keeps basically all of their power after Amphoreus is over that we know does is Cyrene. And that's why she's so stupidly high. She's incredibly... Cyrene did incredible in 3.7. March has the same potential, which is why she is actually higher than her, because we have also seen the potential for Enigmata with her, which implies that March is able to ascend onto both paths thoroughly, which is fun. I do like that. She is the most logical character we have so far for an ascension of Foolie. And she gave a lot. She flooded the entirety of Amphoreus with Memoria, tried to dictate how that world went. She only had to submit because of the law change that Cyrene put in place. Technically, nothing else made her do that. Her own view, so Evernight was convinced by March, but she even admits in her story that that was a lie, that she feigned being convinced by her. But the reality is she had a gun to her head anyway. She had no choice, because if she didn't back off, Ceredra's law change would have killed everyone. Which, by the way, that law change would move Ceredra's placement quite a bit. But there's a chance that she wouldn't be able to do something like that anymore. So I'm not going to move her. It creates this weird contradiction moment of I would move characters further based on their actions in 3.6, but there's no guarantee that they won't be capable of that stuff anymore. So let me know what you think about my little changes here. If you need to go back to my original reasoning of why I placed characters where they were, I will link the video of the original tier placement list. I am not going to do one for next version because there's no point. My opinion is I should maybe stick to these being story version based. So for me, whatever the next world we end up visiting is for version 4, I will do it after that story on the final chapter of that story and move all the characters based on their actions during that story. Maybe twice a version. I could do it midway as well. Let me know what you guys think about that. If it should be just once at the end, or if it should be midway into the version and then at the end of that version's story as well. I will leave that to you guys to give me feedback on. But until next time, have a good night, morning, day, whatever time it is, wherever you guys are in the world, and take care of yourselves.